Well, guys, yesterday, the non-law enforcement branch of the federal government, better known as the ATF, performed a raid on a perfectly legal business that the ATF themselves were in direct contact with over years to determine that this company was functioning legitimately and above the law and according to whatever means and stipulations or requirements that the ATF actually has in place. The ATF, although providing documents to Polymer 80 over the course of the last 5 years, decided that all of a sudden, knowing full well how Polymer 80 operated, how they ran their business, what they sold, and how they sold it, the ATF decided that they would solicit the help of a known felon and have them purchase a Polymer 80 buy, build, and shoot kit. A felon purchasing a buy, build, shoot kit from Polymer 80 is perfectly legal, because based on the documentation that the ATF has directly given to the attorneys of Polymer 80 and Polymer 80 themselves, what they sell in these boxes, and this is a different type, this is actually one that Strike Industries has, but it is a Polymer 80 kit. It's essentially selling a 80% lower. The receiver itself is what is 80% complete. And what you have to do is you have to go in there and finish milling it out and then assemble the thing. Well, what Polymer 80 was doing in this particular kit of theirs, they were selling all the parts, basically bundling it to where you could purchase everything, then complete building it and put it together and assemble it. Completely disassembled and completely not milled in order to be a functioning receiver. So they were selling all of that. Well, the ATF figured that while we're not precluding Polymer 80 from doing that, and while we're not telling Polymer 80 they can't do that, let's assemble a sting operation to have a known felon purchase that kit so that we can then raid Polymer 80 and tell them they're doing something wrong. Because they've got the documents here that clearly and very clearly, in fact, they repeat themselves by being clear in their own document that nothing that Polymer sells is a firearm. Nothing they sell is a firearm. And they've been doing this for years. Now, all of a sudden, they decide to put this sting operation together. Now, these guns are not, regardless of what some people might be telling you, like the CNNs of the world, are not being used in a widespread spree of crime out there. That's just not happening. It's simply not happening. We all know where criminals get their guns, out of the trunks of cars. They do not purchase buy, build, and shoot kits from legitimate companies. Heck, they don't purchase from legitimate companies, period. Whether it's a complete firearm or one they have to put together. And do you honestly think a felon, because this is what the ATF is saying, that these are ghost guns, they're non-traceable. Do you think a felon cares about serial numbers? When a felon purchases a stolen firearm, do you think that they're like, wait a minute, that one doesn't have a serial number, so I'm good to go on that? No, they don't care. You know why they don't care? Because they're committing crimes with them. They don't ever expect a police officer, they're certainly not intending or hoping a police officer runs the numbers on their gun. A felon or a person, a criminal, gets in just as much trouble with a gun that has a serial number filed off of it as to one that is a stolen gun, because it's assumed that it's a stolen gun if the serial number is filed off of it anyway. Those Polymer 80 guns are probably all stolen. Again, my point is felons are not contacting Polymer 80 to purchase these kits in order to build them. The only reason why that you make the assumption that somehow or another this criminal built their gun themselves is because you're dealing with an unserialized gun, which if it's reported, there's no way to tell what gun was stolen when it is in fact recovered. So if this criminal is in possession of a Polymer 80% lower that they have stolen as once it was made into a firearm, you can't automatically assume that that felon or that criminal is the one who built that gun. Chances are very good that they are not the ones who built that gun. They stole the gun. If you look at the percentage of Polymer 80 guns that are on the market and compare that with the percentage of Polymer 80 guns used in crimes, I'll bet you those percentages are almost the same. Why? Because criminals don't care if it's a Polymer 80 or a serialized gun when they steal it. They don't discriminate. They want the easy way out. Do you realize how much easier it is for a criminal to steal a gun than to buy one from Polymer 80 and then have to build that thing? Let's say a criminal wants to purchase a firearm legitimately. let's say we have that one honest criminal that wants to do it the right way, wants to fill out a background check or purchase it legitimately. If you have an option of one with a serial number that they can just go in, purchase the gun, fill out a background check, and they're not a felon yet, and they can in fact leave with that doing a background check, or send off to Polymer 80, hey, I want one of those kits, bring it in. They have the time that it has to be mailed to them, and then they can't be a crackhead because now they got to build the thing. So if a criminal has a choice between walking out of a store with a serialized firearm bought legitimately or buying one legitimately on Polymer 80 that they in fact have to build, spend the time to make it into a functioning firearm, which one are they going to choose? They're going to choose the one with the serial number. They don't care about that. What really bothers me is that the media is running with this in all the wrong ways. CNN put out a statement that based on suspicions that it was illegally manufacturing and distributing firearms is the reason why the ATF raided this Polymer 80 facility. The ATF knew darn well what Polymer 80 was doing the whole time. There were no secrets here. They weren't selling this buy, build, shoot kit on the black market. They were selling it on their dang website where anybody could go look at it. The same company that is right in the middle of correspondence on an ongoing basis with the ATF also has all their business online. They're not trying to hide anything. They're trying to do everything legitimately. And the ATF is trying to take down a legitimate American business. President Trump needs to take advantage of his next month in office and gut this illegitimate, corrupt, anti-gun, anti-American organization called the ATF before they put more legitimate businesses out of business, like they're trying to do to SB Tactical, and like they're trying to do to Polymer 80 and all the other ones that are down the line. And I don't mean any disrespect to the other companies out there doing business in those two realms. SB Tactical's competition or Polymer 80's competition. I back all of you guys. Those are just the two main players in the whole thing. I feel sorry for all of you guys, and you know you're next. I would like to see the gun community, instead of going, I didn't want one of those anyway. Instead of doing that, how about we come together and support the Polymer 80s and the SB Tacticals out there who are legitimately trying to do their things the correct way. And before anyone says, oh, this is another one of those things where they were misrepresenting. They were saying that they were doing this and they were doing that. These companies, they know the guidelines that they have to play by. They're doing everything legitimately. You're going to sit here and take the word of the ATF over these companies out there that have everything to lose if they're not crossing all their T's and dotting all their I's. Do not put this on Polymer 80. Do not put it on them as, oh, they did this wrong. They did everything right according to their paperwork. It's the ATF that has no clear-cut guidelines. They do not tell you the rules until they're ready to enforce them. Now they want to... You don't think that one simple phone call to Polymer 80 by the ATF saying, this buy, build, shoot kit that you got, we really wish you wouldn't do that. You don't think they could have told them that we feel like you have the intent of selling guns that can be assembled by the buyer, by the end user? You don't think they could have made one simple phone call, an email, a quick little letter, something like that, and given them a little bit of heads up because they clearly got their number? No. They changed the rules, and then they attack these guys and raid their legitimate business. That is not right.